Coming up next on the CHGO Cubs podcast, driven by Toyota. Well, the World Series. The Jays are one away. Can they actually pull it off and upset the Dodgers? And by the way, the pitcher last night for the Blue Jays, he could have been a Cub. We'll tell you about that. Plus, CHGO, we are putting out our report cards again today. Matt Shaw, what grade would you give the Cubs rookie third baseman? Trick or treat? You're not going to want to smell our feet. CHGO Cubs next. Hey, Chicago, what do you say? It's the CHGO Cubs podcast driven by our friends at Toyota. It is the day before Halloween. It could get a little scary around here. I'm just giving you a little preview of the show, October 30th. Luke Stuckmeyer, Joey Christopolous, Jordan Bernfield in for the show. And I still think if Jordan would take off that blue shirt, we could rob a bank in all this black today.
That's right.
We're in the Halloween theme. It's very morbid around here.
I was are we still mourning the Cubs? I feel like the statute of limitations is passed.
Still doing it.
He looks like the three of us did rob a bank, but he just slipped on the blue jacket because he's trying to separate himself. He's trying to fit in like Harrison Ford in The Fugitive, trying to get away. That's what it looks like.
I wasn't the guy in the vault. Look at this blue shirt I've got.
Check the tapes.
Sean Anderson run the ones and twos for us today. Hope you're going to have a great Halloween coming up tomorrow. We're going to have a great show today. Lots to talk about. I think surprising to most, the Blue Jays are one away from winning the World Series. We'll talk about that. Their young 22-year-old starter who made me really jealous yesterday. And we got some. I want to talk about a lot of guys on that team that you think to yourself, man, what if the Cubs had done that player? And what are the Dodgers doing against Vlad Jr.? We'll talk about all that, plus our report card for Matt Shaw. And some sort of villain superhero guy is going to show up, is what I've heard. I think it's possible. Anything could happen on a show like this. You never know. I heard that there were like electronic issues around here earlier today. And
the internet's been really weird today, so hopefully everything goes smoothly.
Carm is debuting a song on CHGO Bears, so I think that's just
we're intentionally messing with the Wi-Fi.
That will be the craziest thing on a podcast today.
The curse of the Carm.
Curse of the Carm harmonica.
Have we tested the backup generator for that?
I thought it was the L flag that was
Call
causing
for
the curse.
season.
Turns out it's the harmonica. By the way, I've heard him working on this harmonica song for like weeks now, and it's changed over and over.
Is your teammate about to sing a song on a show? Call 4 Seasons and shut off the generator before it's too late.
Let's shut off Carm and do the Cubs show. Yeah. All right, so Blue Jays win again, amazingly, after an 18-inning loss. I thought the Blue Jays were just going to fold it up and go home. Boy, was I wrong. Back-to-back wins at Dodger Stadium. Now they're one away from winning. I still think the Dodgers are going to win the World Series because it's pretty easy to win 2 games in a row when you're the Dodgers. I think the Cubs might have won 3 in a row. Is that factual? 3 in a row at one point? Yeah, 2016. Sure I remember. Well, by the way, they were down 3-1 exactly 9 years ago today. Chris Bryant hits a home run, and here comes the comeback. I'm not sure the Dodgers are doing the exact same thing, but let's talk about this pitcher for last night. Yesavage. I don't care how you want to say it. The kid was savage. 22 years old. He goes out there and he makes the Dodgers look like a AAA team for a night, right? This is the stat I found the most amazing. He started the year in AAA this season. He didn't make his debut till September. And when he started the year in Single A, his first game had a crowd of 327 fans. Yesterday, 12 strikeouts, no walks in front of 52,000 people live in Game 5 of the World Series, and worldwide audience certainly paying attention. 23 swing and misses. He was unreal. Not a name I thought was going to be a factor. We did the draft of the World Series. I don't think anybody took Savage Boy.
No, I mean, look, he was incredible. the most strikeouts by a rookie in the World Series since Don Newcombe in 1949 with the Brooklyn Dodgers.
That's pretty good.
Only I saw that one.
Yeah. So, I mean, you're talking about a guy who was literally historically great last night, given the situation. I think that we knew going into this World Series, just because the Dodgers starting pitching is so vaunted, that the Blue Jays were going to have one of these guys step up and pitch an incredible game. Whether that was going to be Trey Yesavage or it was going to be 41-year-old Max Scherzer or one of these guys was going to have to do it. What Yesavage did yesterday was amazing. And I still think that when you watch this series through 5 games, yes, it's 3-2 Blue Jays, but it has just felt like the Blue Jays have been the better team in this series. They could have won this series already. They are, I've heard some people compare them to the Brewers. They're not the Brewers because they've got a guy in the middle of their lineup that cost $500 million that brings them to the next level. We can talk about Davis Schneider and we can talk about some of these punchy guys like Ernie Clement, but when you've got Vladimir freaking Guerrero Jr., man, does that make a difference. And last night, the way they jumped on Snell early and then Yesavage goes to work, man, this Blue Jays team is fun. They are fun.
Yeah, and it's a lesson to a lot of teams out there, and maybe specifically the Cubs, that Vladimir Guerrero Jr. those players can be worth every penny.
Yeah.
And you were seeing it in that moment right now. And you know what's so funny about this series also is that I get it. Mookie Betts has had a bad year. He's had bad playoffs. But for whatever reason, you're right. The Blue Jays lineup just kind of feels a little longer right now, where that back half of the Dodgers lineup just really isn't turning it over the way that they want to. And finally, somebody woke up in Major League Baseball and decided to start kind of pitching around Ohtani, or at least trying to pitch more carefully to him. We'll see how it goes in the next couple of games. But when we talk about Yesavage, it's really fun to think about. You never know what's going to happen after this. You're just trying to appreciate what's happening in the moment. Because I always think of, I hate to stir the echoes with Cubs fans, but a young Josh Beckett bursting on the scene. Yeah. And then the great career that he had after that. Tim Lincecum in the playoffs, and the great career that he had after that. I don't know if Yesavage is going to have that amazing career after this, but sometimes when you watch these players in these moments and they're so young, Luke, you can't help but think man, are we going to be watching this guy for the next 10 years? And is this the beginning of something? And for the young man, I hope that it is.
I bet you it is. Old Mr. Yesavage.
Mr. Yesavage.
Mr. Yesavage.
That splitter last night,
Yesavage.
that splitter. I mean, you were
unbelievable.
Saying
and slider, both.
Right, but in game 1, they were saying that he used the splitter a lot less because he couldn't feel it as well. He was throwing more sliders. But last night, I mean, some of the swings you saw from Freeman, from Betts, from Ohtani, this guy just, I mean, look, tip your cap. He was incredible.
Yeah, and on the flip side, really quick, that's 2 bad starts now for Blake Snell. And we talked about it yesterday, that Jordan, you're always going to wonder. I still like the Dodgers in the final 2 games. I'll be honest with you. I think that they can come back and win. But if they don't and the Dodgers can be beaten, will we always look back at this 18-inning game and just say to ourselves, did they put the Dodgers in a position Dave Roberts is a guy who kind of coined the idea of 3 batters and you're out. Matchup. We're going to use 8 or 9 guys to the best of our ability. Has he had to push a couple of guys a little bit further than he would like and maybe not give him the hook, where you saw Ohtani, I thought, went a little bit too far the other night. And we're always going to wonder, is that 18-inning game, I get it that the Dodgers won, but could have possibly have cost them the series, or at least put them in this position where now they got to fight probably all the way to a Game 7.
Their season was obviously impacted by a lot of injuries. Their postseason is being impacted by Mookie Betts is batting .230. Freddie Freeman, despite 2 home runs this postseason, is batting .230. Their 2 of their stars are not playing well in the postseason. But when you talk about Vlad Guerrero and him being worth every single penny of it, and you look at him, I think back to a couple years ago, and I was like, man, they need to break up the Blue Jays. They keep thinking they're going to be the best team in the American League, and I keep picking them to win the World Series, and then every year they're not. Yeah. And I thought, they keep marching out the same team. Sooner or later, they're going to get to where the Cubs were with their prospects and say, we got to mix this up to just mix it up. And so I came up with the ridiculous idea of trying to trade for Vlad Guerrero, and people thought I was crazy. This is why you trade. Even if you knew, which you didn't at the time, even if you knew that Michael Busch was going to be the player that he was this postseason, you still would trade for Vlad Guerrero, because there aren't many Vlad Guerreros in baseball. As for Mr. Savage, as I like to call him, he was drafted number 20 in last year's 2024 draft, okay? Number 20. That means the Cubs, 6 picks earlier at 14, went with Cam Smith, who now plays for the Astros, for a 1-year probably rental of Kyle Tucker. I don't know, but I'd like to be running around with a shirt that said, from Obvious Shirts, "That's Savage." Ye Savage, Day Savage, whatever you want.
Can I make this worse? You didn't even get 1 year out of Kyle Tucker. You got 4 months.
That's right.
And then 2 months where he was technically on the team.
We could have Mr. Savage over there.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
If you want to really look at one of the biggest reasons the Cubs have struggled to go from 2015, 16, and 17 to getting back and being maybe the Blue Jays this year, right? Or winning 100 games, it's because their drafts haven't been very good. You go back the year before, it's Jordan Wicks, like Ed Howard. Like they had some failed drafts. Our guy Niren in the live YouTube chat talks about it all the time. Where's the drafting? We'd like to hit, if you can, at least on your first round picks. It doesn't mean that Cam Smith wasn't going to be a good player. He was starting. He made the opening roster. 7 players from that draft are already in the major leagues. This guy's one of them from last night. And the Cubs, I wonder how high they had him on their board. Because 6 picks later, was it a choice between Cam Smith? Would they have just traded him to the Astros? I don't know how it would have worked out. You'll never know.
Yeah, I mean,
you'll never know.
It's all interesting to think about. The one thing I would say, though, is that some of this is about opportunity, right? Yeah. So I think in the baseball draft, it is becoming much more the case that you can draft a guy and sort of hope that they're going to be in the major leagues fairly soon. Whereas even 5-10 years ago, you were still waiting 3 years probably before you were going to see that player in the big leagues. So it's becoming much more commonplace to realize the fruits of your labor in drafting these players in recent time. However, if Trey Savage was a Cub, would he have done well with the Cubs? I have no idea. So of all the things I'm going to kick myself about from the Cubs perspective, this isn't one of them, because I would love to know where he was on their board, but the one thing I would also say with the Cubs drafting strategy in recent years is that, Joey, we've seen this over the years. They draft offense first. Yes. That is their MO. Mm-hmm. There have been a few drafts where they have made a concerted effort to take 25 pitchers, and they have. But for the most part, they look at bats as more projectable, and that arms are guys that they can, toy with and tinker with and turn them into Brad Keller.
They might have to change. They might have to change their philosophy a little bit.
They might.
Well, and look, here's the thing about that is, when you even talk about players that they've acquired in trades, whether it is Pete Crow, Armstrong, Kevin Alcantara, Owen Casey, all of those are hitters too as well. So I understand that this is the part that I hope that the Cubs front office understands. Is I get it that they sometimes blanch at our constant pecking and mandating of spend money. Well, you know why we're always saying that? Not just because we're fans and we want to see the best product, is that when you look at our system, do we develop our own players enough? Do we develop our own pitching enough? Do we have enough of our own homegrown guys that come up and make a difference and an impact on this team on a regular basis? I would say maybe it's gotten a little bit better because some of the guys that I just mentioned that we've seen in trades are now up at the big league level, and Matt Shaw and Cade Horton. Mm-hmm. Let's see. I like Cade Horton a whole lot, and we'll talk about the report cards from Matt Shaw. But we're always asking for the Cubs to spend money because they haven't done enough developing and drafting their own talent. If they were, I still think we would say spend money, but we wouldn't be sitting here saying, I need 4 $100 million players at the very least this offseason, right?
Well, I would love Jackson Wiggins to have a little Yesavage impact next year,
100%,
late in the season. Like you can get... he didn't make his debut till September.
Right. Well, look, maybe those guys will come through and make a big impact like Cade Horton did down the stretch this past season. But I also think, too, to your point, it's hard, even when you have top draft picks, to hit on so many. The reason why the Cubs won in 16 is, among other things, they got incredibly fortunate that not only did they stink enough to get multiple top 5 picks, but they all hit. And how often do they all hit? The worst one was Albert Almora, who was still a contributor
and a really good center fielder.
Team.
Yeah.
So when you draft and develop in a way where everybody hits, it's easy for the average person to go, well, man, why don't you do that more? It's hard to do that. And I would argue actually that in recent years, the Cubs have done an okay job of drafting guys. They've put guys into the major leagues that contributed to this year's team, which went to the DS. It's just way harder to do that. So if you can't hit at a rate like Theo did over a 4-year period, you've got to spend money somewhere else to shore up other parts of the team.
Mm-hmm. All right, we're going to talk more about it, and we'll continue our World Series conversation. Then we're getting ready to grade Matt Shaw here on the CHGO Cubs podcast presented by Toyota.
Hey, Cubs fans, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Right now, new customers, you get $200 in bonus bets when you bet $5, win or lose. It's Thursday Night Football. They got the football early payout, so you just pick one of the teams tonight to go up by 17 points. You are an instant winner, and it's an instant payout on straight bets and parlay selections marked as winners. So remember, download that app. Use code CHGO365 when you sign up. They also have the 100% parlay boost, so you can double your winnings on parlays with Bet365. 100% parlay boost when you download the app and use the code CHGO365. Also, the MLB early payout offer, Blue Jays, Dodgers, pick one of them. They go up by 5 runs. You are an instant winner. So head on over right now. And remember, when you deposit $10 and place a bet for 5, you can get up to $200 in bonus bets when you use code CHGO365. Remember, you must be 21 plus or older if you or someone you know has a gambling problem. Crisis counseling or referral services can be accessed by calling 1-800-GAMBLER in-app only.
It's a spectacular day in Chicago right now, but bad weather's on the way, guys.
Oh, no.
It's winter weather's almost here, and Cubs fans, Toyota has 25 vehicles available with all-wheel drive and 4-wheel drive. Their RAV4 has legendary versatility. The Grand Highlander's adult-sized third row is for real, and the Tacoma's wild side, that comes standard. From job sites to campsites to game nights, there's an all-wheel drive or 4-wheel drive Toyota to get you there safely in style. Find yours at Toyota.com or visit your Chicagoland Toyota dealer. Toyota, let's go places. And Joey, what a time it is around the holiday season here of Halloween, Thanksgiving coming up to be a diehard.
Some say the perfect time.
Sign up right now to become a CHGO diehard and upgrade your fandom today. Get access to our exclusive written content. You get a free t-shirt and plenty of discounts on future merch and events, plus access to our Discord lounge where we all hang out and talk Chicago sports. We can't wait to connect with you on an even greater level. Back on the CHGO Cubs podcast presented by our friends at Toyota. We're getting ready to give our report card grade to Matt Shaw a little bit later in the show. And we might, if we have time, pick our top 5 favorite Halloween candies. What candies will I be pulling out of my kid's bag because I'm greedy daddy?
The inspector, the candy inspector here.
Well,
Let's see, what do we got here?
buddy? That one doesn't look good.
See what we got here.
I'll check it out for you. Yeah, that wasn't the right one. I don't really do that too many times. I do, but we also bring some here. We're talking about the World Series. Jays a win away. Vlad Guerrero has been spectacular. And we said that's why, like, even today, if you're not worried about money, why you want Vlad Guerrero on your team. Why some of these guys, even if they have a down year, one down year, you look at it and say, yeah, but he is one of the best players. Now, I don't know if that translates to Kyle Tucker or not. You can debate that all you want. All I would say here is Vlad Guerrero is the one that got away for me. And not only that, when I was watching him last night, remember, after the 18-inning game, I sat here on this podcast and on social media and all over the place saying the Blue Jays are cowards for not pitching to Ohtani. Followed up by, I would be a coward too. It's the right play to keep walking Shohei Ohtani. Just like the Cubs were cowards for walking Bryce Harper, and it was the right play to walk Bryce Harper. Well, I have a little bit of advice. I don't know why I'm giving the Dodgers advice, but here it is. You've been real smart with spending all the money and getting all the right players. You do have the best team. You might want to start walking Vlad Guerrero and being cowards yourself just a little bit. Even Yamamoto in the next game might want to consider giving Vlad the old free pass. And I know what I said. The reason I don't like that they walked him 6 straight times, Ohtani, is because for baseball, listen, you're trying to draw fans in. You've got a sport that's teetering down a little bit. Fans aren't baseball fans like they used to be. We are, but not everybody is. And so when you have a chance to market in the biggest spotlight the best player in the planet, maybe ever, in Ohtani, I want to see him hit, okay? Just like I really do want to see Vlad hit. But if I'm the Dodgers, the smart play might be walking him. The first time I've heard this was yesterday, Waddle and Sylvie driving home. Is this a solution to this? Should they just make a rule? You can only walk each player or a specific player intentionally one time in a baseball game. Here's the reasoning behind it. It doesn't mean that that player, for instance, let's say it's Vlad Guerrero. It doesn't mean that he won't walk 6 times in a game. You can try and circumvent that rule by still just throwing him garbage pitches 4 times. But you run the risk of
be swinging at those.
Or Vlad Jr. We know who his dad was, right?
You know who his father was. A PCA running into one of those, or Ohtani running into one of those, or you run the risk of your pitcher throws a wild pitch and they score a run that way. Yeah. Now, it still might be worth it. You also might be running the risk of, now my pitcher's out of rhythm. He's just thrown 4 garbage pitches, and in this high-intensity situation, maybe not in the regular season, but in the World Series, he might have a little trouble getting it back for a second, and that could be costly when Mookie Betts comes up, or whoever might come up next. Would that at least be, is that at least meeting it a quarter of the way?
I think it's interesting to think about. What I would say is that I would be more in favor of it if they did it, but also then when you're not intentionally walking that player, I would say my initial thought was that because they've taken the actual throwing of the pitches out of the game and the intentional walk is just, I've decided to walk you, please go to first now, you lose that potential variability and disaster, right? Like, I'd be okay with them designating one time you can just put the guy on without having to throw it.
Right.
But then if you want to intentionally walk a player later in the game, you can, but you have to physically throw the pitches.
Yep.
Because then it gives you the opportunity to screw it up and then create something that would be interesting to watch.
Well, and I think they implemented that because we were trying to shorten the game at the time. Well, guess what? The new news is the pitch clock is officially shortened the game by anywhere between 15 to 25 minutes, depending on what stat you want to look at. So,
thank you.
So I'm open. I'm open to this. I think in the regular season, I would probably be a little bit more lenient on it, but I do understand the forcing nature of just not. You can't just bypass a certain player in the lineup, making them at least throw the pitches, at least as you said, provides the variability, because you never know. Once in a blue moon, they mess up, or once in a blue moon, remember they would do the intentional walk and a guy would try and poke out and try and hit one before. Like, so you never know what happens.
Sean shaking his head at
me.
Well,
my mind just goes to Emmanuel Clase and Luis Ortiz. Like, is this going to run into betting issues? Like, it's intentional walk stuff. Right. Like, I don't know. Like, these guys get banned because they're throwing balls purposefully. I'm just thinking of my dear friends Luis Ortiz and Emmanuel Clase.
Sure, right. It's for me. It's like when, don't get me wrong, it was the right move. Hack-a-Shack.
Yeah.
But fans, if you're really talking about your business as an entertainment, fans aren't watching Shaq to see if he can make 22% of his free throws. They're watching Shaq to see if he can break the backboard over somebody's head. That's why you watch it. I don't want to watch the World Series to see Ohtani walk 6 times. I don't.
But this is
I want to see him try to be beaten by Savage. That's what I want to see Yesavage try to strike him out. That's what I want.
Entertainment and strategy collide.
Yes.
And that's where, and again, at the end of the day, it's an entertainment product. At the end of the day, though, the spirit of why we love these sports has a lot to do with the strategy, right? And that's the gray area that you have to kind of navigate through this.
I agree. I mean, look, the other thing I would say is that the changes that baseball has made, I feel, have been incredibly positive.
Awesome.
That being said, I don't want them to keep doing things towards the point of getting gimmicky. And I'm not suggesting that this specifically would do that, but I think that if we made it, like the strategy of the game to me is one of the things that draws me to baseball, right? So I think if they were to make a change, that leaving the strategy as intact as possible has to be the end goal. Like, I don't like the runner on second base in extra innings in the regular season. I think it's stupid, but I understand why they do it, because Luke, you and I used to host post-game
Right.
shows.
So I can get
After
home
that
a little bit
16-inning
earlier.
game in San Diego, I think I'm okay with the game ending in 10.
I'm okay with the guy starting at third, to
Yes,
be honest with you.
I'm just saying that it's a net positive that those games are not all 5 hours, but it does compromise the strategy of baseball when you have a runner starting at second base in extra inning. So I think that if you were to change the intentional walk rule, that's my make them have to throw it if they're going to intentionally walk him the rest of the game, so that the strategy still has to be thought about whether you want to take that risk.
And the larger part about this, too, is that I understand that there are certain people in certain front offices that say, well, it takes a team and it isn't just one player. But sometimes in baseball, with this conversation that we're having right now, when there are difference makers in the lineup, and the Cubs got an opportunity to get a taste of it for, like you said, about 2 or 3 months this year, there's an intangible to it, and there is obviously stats and production to back it up. But when Kyle Tucker was right in the Cubs lineup, it permeated throughout the rest of the lineup, and it made everyone else better because, A, he's always on base, he's driving guys in. But again, the stress and the high percentage and the strategy that the one pitcher has to put on the one individual hitter, it adds up over time.
Yes.
So
And
whether it's Vlad
yeah.
Guerrero or Shohei or Tucker, when you have that difference maker in the middle of your lineup, it makes the rest of your lineup better. You can't sell me anything else.
Again, the Blue Jays and Dodgers should both be doing the right thing. Until the rule changes, I would walk the guy. Don't get me wrong. But it isn't, I mentioned Shaq, it's not even hack-a-Shaq. It's every time down the floor, Shaq's not allowed to play offense. That's what it really is.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous. You have to stop it.
Right.
And if that means at least cutting into it a little bit and taking it just back to the old rule, nobody wants the game to be shorter more than a guy who's over 50. Okay? Nobody.
The Stucky special is what, an
Stucky
hour 40?
special, if you can get a game
Hour
under
40?
210, I'm happy with it, okay?
There you go.
Agreed.
But I am willing to watch them intentionally walk guys by throwing the ball outside, and maybe every once in a while it impacts the game. I'm willing to sacrifice that little bit of time to at least have the chance that they, A, throw it too close to the plate, or they throw it away, or the pitcher gets the yips after that. At least that helps. I'd prefer you couldn't intentionally walk them at all somehow, but I don't know how you really do that, like Sean said, without really creating some total chaos in your sport.
Yeah.
But they have to figure out a way to let Ohtani, Vlad Jr., and these guys actually be on the biggest stage when you want them on the
And
biggest
just really quick,
Agreed.
maybe we're at the point now, like we're talking about, that they have figured out ways to shorten the game that have nothing to do with necessarily in play. Because the pitch clock is not necessarily in play, per se. The guy's got the ball in his hand on the mound. Now that they've figured that out, maybe they can reintroduce forcing the pitcher to actually throw those pitches, whether they're balls or strikes, and make that a part of the strategy again.
Look, I mean, I look at the 3-batter minimum, right? Look at how much that has changed the game.
Yep.
That's a big
Managers
strategy
hate
change.
that too.
Right, but I
Yeah.
mean, now you can't bring in your Randy Choates anymore to get one guy out because he's throwing the ball left-handed at his feet, and that was all he could come in to do, right? But
It's a great drop.
That is one of the strategy moves that at first I didn't love it, but it's like watching the last couple of nights when Dave Roberts has gone to Bonda, which, by the way, every time he puts that guy in, I'm like, he's worried now.
Yep.
That guy, once you take the star out of the game, it's like, wait, I've traded Tyler Glass now for Anthony Bonda.
Not great.
But, now he has to face 3 guys, right? And so that has made a big impact on the game because you can't just put him in there to face, one great left-handed hitter. You have to give him an opportunity. So I think it is balanced out in a way where baseball has some of these changes have allowed for some of these things that we may not have seen in the past to happen.
Don't you think Tom Ricketts and the family are sitting at home going, oh, man, the Blue Jays could do this. But don't forget, they
Yes.
spent a lot of money, too.
5 guys with over $100 million in total contracts.
you.
We have 1.
Guerrero's getting paid $500 million.
You're going to save a lot of money next year by having Matt Shaw at third base. But what grade would you give him for his 2025 rookie season? That's coming up next on the CHGO Cubs podcast presented by Toyota.
Hey, sports fans, the Game Time app, it gives the advantage back to you, the fans. It's the hack for unlocking amazing tickets and experiences in just a few taps. Incredibly easy to use, and the Game Time guarantee means that you can trust. You'll get 100% authentic tickets on time and at the best price. Plus, fees are always included, so when you check out, what you see is going to be what you pay. They've got views from all the seats and all the venues, beautiful panoramic views so you can see literally the seat that you're going to get when you pick it up. Lowest price guarantee, and they have amazing zone deals. They got event cancellation and the lowest price guarantee. That means Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference, and the Game Time ticket coverage purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. So take the guesswork out of buying NFL tickets, NHL tickets, NBA tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code CHGO, and you'll receive $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Remember, $20 off and use code CHGO. Tap Ticket Go. Download that Game Time app today.
Winter is gonna be here before you know it. The cold weather has arrived. Is your home's heating up for the challenge? Well, now's the time to schedule your Four Seasons furnace tune-up. At Four Seasons, they guarantee same-day installation for all your heating, cooling, plumbing, electrical, and generator needs with no extra charge for nights, weekends, or holidays. Check out some of these incredible offers they have right now. You could save up to $4,000 on furnaces and comfort systems with Four Seasons heating, air conditioning, plumbing, and electric. Their furnaces start at $39 a month.
Wow.
And furnace AC combos at $57 a month. Don't get left out in the cold. Call today. Save $50 from your trusted local experts. Four Seasons heating, air conditioning, plumbing, and electric, serving our area for more than 50 years. Your trusted local experts, Four Seasons Heating, Air Conditioning, Plumbing, and Electric. Visit fourseasonsheatingcooling.com for all their special offers and money-saving coupons. That's fourseasonsheatingcooling.com. Time to get out the report cards on the CHGO Cubs podcast. We've done Jed Hoyer. We've done the Cubs catchers. And now we move over to third base with Matt Shaw in his rookie season. It was a roller coaster ride for Mr. Shaw. Started really badly, got really high on the mountain, and then started to slip back down the mountain again in the postseason. It is time for our Taking the Temp segment. Your trusted local experts, Four Seasons Heating, Air Conditioning, Plumbing, and Electric. Visit fourseasonsheatingcooling.com for all your special offers and money-saving coupons. That's fourseasonsheatingcooling.com. So as I was saying, Matt Shaw, cold, hot, oh, cold.
Yeah.
So that will impact our grades. Now, remember, for me yesterday, you can grade them however you want, but I like to put a couple factors into it. One, what were we expecting from this guy? What were the projected stats or season you were expecting from this guy? Remember, he's a rookie, just drafted a couple years ago. Then, how does he compare to other third basemen in Major League Baseball? So you can't just say, well, yeah, but we had a rookie, so I got to give him an A because he hit more than 10 home runs. Yeah, but how did he compare to Bregman or any other third baseman in Major League Baseball? For me, it has to all be averaged together. We'll talk about on the second half of this whether or not he should for sure be your starting third baseman or not next season. But let's just start with his projected stats. Sean said 507 at-bats. This is correct. Tell me if I'm wrong on any of these. He was projected to hit 16 home runs. I called him to win National League Rookie of the Year. Now, Cubs still might do that, but I thought Matt Shaw and Cam Smith would do it because destiny, that's how it would work out. 507 at-bats. They were projecting 16 homers, a 247 batting average, an on-base percentage of 320, slugging 402, and an F4 of 2.2. Well, how did it go in reality? It went so badly early on offensively that they had to send him back to rework his whole swing. Everybody was worried about that little leg kick, the leg lift thing. It was a problem. Turns out we were right. It was a problem. He had to go back and fix it. But guys, after he did, after the All-Star break, he was great. And the defense was, that's the third thing I like to factor in. His defense, while that doesn't factor into anything other than maybe F4, was awesome. Like way better than the Cubs expected.
I mean, I'm looking at the splits, and what I would say is that a grade might be a little. It was obviously way better. He looked
combine
like
the defense with it. He was a really, really good third baseman.
Defensively, he was great. I mean, down the stretch of the year, he was great. Offensively, he was obviously way better. I mean, in the second half of the year, 258, 317 on base, 522 slugs. So an OPS of 839, if you could get that over the course of a year, you would definitely take that. And he hit 11 home runs in the second half of the season compared to 2. So comparatively, obviously, he was way, way, way better in the second half of the year. But in terms of a grade to give Matt Shaw, I sort of look at it like C+, right? There were moments where things went really well for Matt Shaw, but in totality, you said it, Luke, they had to set him down. I mean, in March and April, he looked completely lost. And frankly, my expectations for him were not high this year. And that's not to say that I don't think he can be a good player. It's just asking a lot for a rookie third baseman who wasn't a third baseman to come in on the major league level and be that at age 23. I think that there were a lot of positives in the second half of the year, and I feel a lot better about him going into 2026. But it was, as you said, an uneven season. The first half was really rough, but the last couple of months give me a pause and hope that a C+ is fair.
A lot of career lessons. So when you look at it in its totality, like you said, hopefully he's taking those lessons and applying them into his second year next year. Because before I get into the on the field stuff, just him getting sent down in general, that could be devastating for a lot of players. Mm-hmm. Luke, you weren't the only person that was predicting that he could possibly be rookie of the year. There's plenty of national outlets pegging him and saying that he was possibly going to win that award. He didn't even get close. I think in general, again, I'm not trying to grade him on a rookie scale. I'm just trying to grade him on a player in the totality of the year. I was pleasantly surprised by his defense. Gold Glove finalist, right? And hopefully we can pencil that in the next 4 or 5 years. I was definitely disappointed in the offense. I found the swing to start the year completely obnoxious. We read the scouting report and we were like, this guy's great at timing up fastball. And then I saw his swing for the first time and I was like, you've got to be kidding me with this thing and then the high leg kick. But to his credit, and Brendan Miller, who hosts CHGO Cubs Related, which we'll have an episode tonight with Corey Friedman, he did a really great job of breaking down a montage of how Matt Shaw over the course of the year tried 7 or 8 different, iterations of his swing, desperate to try and get it right. And I think you saw that in some of the up and down nature of his play. Credit to the Chicago Cubs when they sent him down to the minor leagues. I think he had good 7 or 8 days in a row. And we started talking like, let's bring Matt Shaw up. And they said, no. You're going to spend another week down there. We want to make sure this kind of really settles a little bit more. So I went with a C with Matt Shaw. Because to be honest with you, I was disappointed with the offense. The Zips or the F4 I think he probably got the Zips projections. He went underneath that for sure. I think the biggest disappointment for me was he was a guy that was supposed to be able to lock in pretty good on fastball, was not good at that at all this year, and he was exposed in the postseason. For a rookie, things to improve on, 174 batting average with runners in scoring position, a little bit to be expected, right, for a first guy going through it for the first time. And the slugging percentage was there, but the batting average wasn't. And what do you want, honestly, from Matt Shaw moving forward, right? And that's why I'm giving him a C, is that even if it's the 13 home runs he hit this year or the 16 that he was projected to hit, that's fine range for me. That's cool. We need more contact. We need more line drive in his game. We need him on base a little bit more, and that 32% on base percentage, that's got to be where it's at next year. We can't have we had too many guys hovering around that 298, 300 on base percentage, which is just subpar. Pete Crow Armstrong, Dansby Swanson, Matt Shaw. We need somebody to step up. And if Matt Shaw is going to be the third baseman of the future, I love the glove. Obviously, the bat needs to take a step forward next year.
I wonder how many exterior things, not outside of baseball, just how many other things might be impacting our grades. I'm usually not captain positive, but I have the highest grade here. I have a B- for him because even though I thought he might be rookie of the year, and that was based on absolutely nothing other than hope and wishes for me.
Yeah, excitement,
because I hadn't really seen a whole lot of him. Couldn't say that. I wonder what other things were impacting, because I have no problem with him being sent back, especially early in the season, okay? Because that happens to a lot of players, and sometimes they don't even make it back. He made it back fairly quickly and all of a sudden became your third baseman and was very solid, was definitely not a problem, and led you to the point where, so much so that at the trade deadline, I think everybody sat around here and said, you know what, I like Geno Suarez, but I'm not going to upgrade it because how much of an upgrade is it going to be over what Shaw is giving me? Now, it might have been the wrong decision because Geno Suarez probably would have done better at the plate for the Cubs in the postseason in our lineup with the Cubs than Matt Shaw did. He was overmatched by the fastball, and it started to decline again. But that doesn't make me think that he can't be the good player moving forward. I'm not forgetting the beginning with the leg kick, but that's the first part of it. It's more about who he was in the postseason versus who he was after the All-Star break for me. So I'm wondering, A, how much value, or if you're doing it or not, how much value are you putting in what you saw last, which was the playoffs, not pretty, and extra frustrating because it was the playoffs and it was like, oh, this is an out, this is an out, this is an out, right? Like you just felt bad. Like you didn't know what else they were going to do because they didn't have another third baseman. So A, are we thinking about that subconsciously? And 2, are we grading this because we thought they should have signed Bregman in the offseason, which was...
they definitely should have done that.
Correct. Correct.
It's clear they should have done that.
Correct. But now he's going to be out there again, so we'll get to that decision. So
which
it's like...
also would have been fine.
But does the tantalizing, they're in on this Bregman thing, and then Shaw starts out so poorly and finishes poorly, does it make us forget the middle part? And the third thing is, what about the position he's playing? Okay, we've been desperate for a third baseman. If Bregman's not in there, are we thinking the same thing after the Morel, after the Patrick Wisdom, after all of the things since he is the best third baseman they've had since Chris Bryant? Now, that's a low bar, okay? That's
John
a low bar.
Birdie and
He's
Vidal
better.
Brujan
He's,
were also
he's
on that
better than
list.
Brujan. He's better than Brujan. He's better than Madrigal. He's better than McKinstry, who's part of the World Series.
Right.
But the position he plays now, if he had 12 home runs and a roller coaster ride in his rookie season, let's just say Nico's surgery last offseason didn't go as well as we thought. And he was not available all year, just could not recover from that. They would have been forced into a situation where I'm thinking Matt Shaw would have been their second baseman. They would have signed Bregman, whatever.
Yeah.
If he's playing at second base and he goes through the same season instead of third, does it impact your grade at all? Like, are you thinking, well, I don't know, 12, 13 homers, he was sent down, but that's not bad for a second baseman. Our second baseman before that wasn't hitting 12.
I hear what you're saying. For me, it's not positional.
Okay.
For me, it's that, and I think Joey sort of said this, like when you look at how much his swing had to change during the course of the year. Look, I've said this on the show, but we've said this many times, like progress isn't linear, like Theo always said, right? I mean, part of what we saw with PCA this year was a lot of making changes and the way that his swing changed at the beginning of the year and how successful he was, and then reverting back to a lot of chase and a lot of the issues that he was having in the previous couple of years in the second half of the season. Matt Shaw's uneven season was not unprecedented. This happens to a lot of rookies, but as I look at the totality of what happened, I mean, part of why he couldn't hit was because he couldn't figure out what exactly mechanically his plan was in the batter's box. And so my hope is that in future years, if he can figure that out to something more consistently, that brings the production up. But my concern is that when you have a guy that's doing that on the major league level, it's hard to figure out the right way to do it.
So, Joey, did the Cubs play this wrong? Is it their fault? Is his slow start their fault? They're the ones that said, we're not gonna fix something until we know for sure it's broke. We all listen, they've watched more baseball than we have. Craig Counsell had to look he had the strangest batting stance of all, but it worked for him.
Look,
so is he sitting there saying, listen, this looks like we're gonna have to adjust his stance, but they never did it at the minor league level. They said, okay, go ahead with that until it doesn't work. Is it their fault that his season kind of went through this roller coaster?
What's so difficult about this right now is that and when you're trying to develop young players, and Matt Shaw specifically, this is a needle that you have to thread, because I think you can look back hopefully a year from now and say, man, there was a lot of value that we got out of Matt Shaw's up and down year. The problem with that right now is that the Chicago Cubs are in a position to really contend next year, and it's a little bit more of, we're not exactly sure how Matt Shaw is going to develop a year from now, which is why I'm always keep pushing on. If you think about trains on a track and the station is a developed player, Matt Shaw is at the station, right? Picor Armstrong, I don't think he's at the station yet, but he's pretty darn far ahead. Matt Shaw is definitely lagging behind that. And when I'm saying, when everyone's like, we got to play Owen Casey and Moises Ballesteros a ton, those guys are going to start back here too as well. So how many times are you going to run these guys on these different tracks until they all get to the station at the same time? And that's going to be the big question with Matt Shaw is, I love the glove. It is a fantastic thing to have there at third base, but the hitting has to get better and it has to develop. And unfortunately, because this is a business and the Cubs need to be competitive, it's got to develop in a hurry, and that's the needle that they have to thread right now.
And Joey, to Luke's earlier question, yes, it is somewhat their fault that Matt Shaw struggled at the beginning of the year because they offered Alex Bregman a contract. Okay. They didn't get him, but they offered him a deal that they knew he wasn't going to take. But the point is, if they were so convinced that Matt Shaw was the guy, then they wouldn't be having a conversation with Alex Bregman.
They never thought the defense would be this good. One word answer before we go to break. Is he the future at third base? Yes or no?
I think he is their future.
That is not a one-word answer. Yes or no?
Somewhat.
Yes.
Yes. Somewhat.
Yes.
Possibly.
I think so. Hey, Joey, why is something going on with our electricity?
Yeah, I don't know.
We better take an ad break here at the CHGO Cubs podcast presented by Toyota.
Weird.
New vehicles are in store at Ray Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram, and this is your chance to score a great deal at the Drive in the Fall event. Head to Ray CDJR on Route 12 today to choose from their huge inventory of new Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram vehicles. Right now, get 0% financing for 72 months on available new models. Plus, shop over 125 vehicles they have priced under $20,000 with the friendly team of experts there. The team at Ray CDJR will help you on each stop of your shopping journey. Ray's Price Promise lets you shop confidently. No add-ons, no hidden fees. The price you see is the price you pay. It's that simple. Go check out our partner today. Shop one of the Chicago area's largest inventories to find the right new vehicle for you. Don't miss out on the Drive into Fall event for huge savings on new models. More information at Ray CDJR today on Route 12 in Fox Lake or online, raycdjr.com. They've been serving the community since 1963.
Ram. And Cubs fans, we all know that moment, right? It's that one when you realize you left your favorite sunglasses on the beach or on the roof of your car, in a haunted house, whatever it is. We've all been there before. Well, then we found Shady Rays, and guess what? It changed the game. That's right. These sunglasses are made for real life. Seriously good looking. They're polarized. They're durable. And they're not stupidly expensive. And here's the best part. If you break them or lose them, which I do all the time, Shady Rays will send you a brand new pair. There's no guilt trip. They just do replacements. So now I actually wear my sunglasses without fear at concerts, on boats, on hikes, at picnics, whatever it is, whatever the moment. It's
hiding
Shady
from the
Rays.
paparazzi.
Hiding from the paparazzi. They can't tell who this guy is right here. Shady Rays is the eyewear that has your back. So head on over right now to Shady Rays. They're bringing you an exclusive offer. If you go to shadyrays.com, use the code CHGO, 35% off polarized sunglasses. Try it for yourself. The shades rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people.
Breaking news from Bet Not 365. Do not adjust your television sets, for it is I, Thanos, here to bring you a very important message. 1, I am inevitable. And 2, I am here to toss out some tasty, sweet Chicago sports takes. What's up, Stucky? How are you, buddy?
This is not what I expected today, Thanos.
No, not what I expected.
I had no idea you were a Cubs fan.
Listen, Stucklehead. Due to a time-traveling snafu, I've been marooned here on your putrid planet, waiting for my armies to come and rescue me so I can take over the world. Yeah. But until then, huge Cubs fan. 120 Club, shout out, big time.
Oh, yeah, you like left field over right field?
Oh, right field sucks, am I right?
Oh, yeah, I hear you on that
gosh,
one.
Unbelievable.
So what are your thoughts? Who should the Cubs bring Schwarber back?
So here's my thinking, right? With my 5 Infinity Stones, I can make anyone disappear, Luke.
Oh.
First one, William Contreras. Boom, gone. See you later.
That.
Total suspect.
I like how you think.
Number 2, Iron Man. Don't really like him very much. No. But when my army of millions comes back to this planet and takes over the whole world, you know what I'm going to do, Stucklehead? I'm going to trade for Adley Rutschman. I'm going to sign Kyle Schwarber. I'm going to sign Kyle Tucker. I'm going to sign Dylan Cease. And then our Cubs will take over the whole world.
So are you taking over the team from the Ricketts family, or is this just you're going to help them out?
Oh, no, I'm taking over the whole biz, Daddy-O, and I'm going to run it with Riz, and I'm going to take over the North Side. And Sean Anderson, that's right, White Sox guy, you know what? You're a White Sox guy,
I
right?
don't need to be a part of this.
You're a White Sox. Oh, okay. Don't worry. Because to be honest with you, White Sox, I hate the direction they've been going the last year. I liked how it was before. Jerry's a good friend.
You made Jerry's fans disappear.
Jerry's a good friend. I like where everything's going with that. So it's unbelievable. But the Cubs will rule the world.
Did you make the Brewers? What do you make of the Brewers now? Do they have a chance to ever win the World Series? Do you have that type of power?
Do I have that type of power? My condolences, Pat Murphy. When my army of millions comes back to this planet and takes over this world, not only will you disappear, but the entire stadium, Greg Bragg Jr. Stadium, will disappear too as well.
You ever tried to take their escalators?
Oh, those escalators? Kind of like those, but I'm kind of a mirthful man. I'm kind of a sick puppy.
I was going to say, I don't know the word mirthful. You have to let me know about that.
It's a demure phrase.
I feel like a 5-year-old meeting Santa at the mall for the first time, and it's
scared.
like, why does Santa know my name?
Yeah, it is.
That's
it's
right.
Very scary.
I don't know why Santa knows my
You want
name.
any cactus soup, little boy? That's what I eat. I love eating cactus soup.
What grade would you give Matt Shaw this season? Since we're on that tonight.
Okay, first of all, he's a Slay King, all right? I know what you're going to get into with your grades, your C's, your B's. I'm giving him an A. An A, not for Avengers. Don't really like those guys.
No.
Don't like the Avengers, but collecting him like the Infinity Stones, he is the thumb of my stone. Soon I will take over the world, but for now I'm working part-time at Chili's, and I have a message for you, Dana. Pick up my brunch shift on Saturday, because I need a weekend off.
We need to get this guy some rally cake, cool him down a little bit, How do you like my costume? I'm dressed as a big deal. How do you like that?
It's sick,
Thanos.
Grip. I think it's pretty
Thank
sick,
you. That's
Grip.
a lot of CHGO gear. And look, get you some of that sick drip.
Oh, wow, that's pretty good. Maybe
Better
at
than Infinity
allchgo.com. Anyway, diehards, I gotta go. Too busy running the world. I'm gonna go torture Jordan Bernfield now.
Oh my God, that's terrifying. And the power's back. The power's back, and so are we. Thankfully, Thanos has departed. Now,
I might need to cover myself to get out of here. I need to avoid Thanos. He's going to come torture me.
I'm assuming that one of these Infinity Rings things that he keeps talking about, I assume one of them is the CHGO Die Hard card, since he knows about it.
Yeah.
The power that wields.
Ripping some slab packs.
Yeah, I mean, if he's got a slab pack in one hand, Infinity Rings on the other hand, and then the Die Hard card.
Give Matt Shaw the Power Stone. Give
our thanks to Thanos. He was he's our best guest this week.
It was hard to book him.
No offense, Jordan.
I was like, well, I mean, he is better than me. So,
you're not a guest. You're family at this point.
Yeah,
You're
right.
family.
Interdimensional warlord. It's tough. It's tough.
All right, so we were talking about Matt Shaw real quick, and I want to get to the candy before we go because I'm really hyped up about the candy. I like Halloween a lot.
Stucky Sweets.
Matt Shaw, when we were talking about, you said I asked the one-word answer. Jordan hemmed and hawed, and then he said, yes, that doesn't count. And you weren't sure. We were all kind of on the board.
Said possibly.
So if it's not Shaw long-term, do they make that decision now?
Well, I think...
Do they wait on that decision for multiple years?
Could you see, though, something situationally changing it? That was my hesitation, right? So it's not... I think that they would like it to be Matt Shaw because I think in Tom Ricketts' mind, if I have a young, controllable player who I can pay a salary that he's making currently and he develops into a star, that's the best fiscal scenario for the Cubs. I think, though, that could I see them making a run at Alex Bregman? Yeah. Could I see them making a run at another third baseman if they feel it's a position that they can improve upon? Yeah. So, like, that was my hesitation. It's not that I don't think that Matt Shaw is a potential fit for them long term, but I don't think that they're so tied to him the way that they were some of their prospects in the past, right? Like, if you had asked Theo Epstein in 2014 to give up on Bryant or Rizzo, like, they were never going to do that, right? Like, those guys were penciled in to be the cornerstones of the next good Cubs team.
Yeah.
I don't think that Matt Shaw has that kind of security with the Cubs. I think they'd like him to be one of their cornerstone pieces, but it's going to be up to him to produce enough to be one of those guys.
Yeah, it's not an apples to apples comparison, but it is important to remember Pete Armstrong finished his first year up in the major leagues along the same similar lines. We walked out there saying, great glove, pretty good finish. Can he do it again for a full season? And then we saw more of that come to fruition next year. When we did most likely, least likely, we were just talking about, free agents that had the highest or the lowest percentage of possibly being on a Cubs team next year.
Yeah.
I had Bregman pretty far down on the list because I do think there is belief in Matt Shaw. I had Eugenio Suarez kind of up there on the list a little bit more as honestly more of a plan C, plan D of what I would probably prefer. But I could see a world where they said, if we gave Geno Suarez a 2-year deal, that means we can keep Matt Shaw at third. Doesn't mean we have to play Matt Shaw there every single day because Geno's either at DH or a little bit at third. We can continue this development, but maybe not just hand over 500 at-bats to that player necessarily in the second year.
Yeah.
It's not my favorite idea, but I can see an avenue of maybe where that works. But I would not be surprised if Jed at the winter meetings or something says we're fully committed to Matt Shaw and he's going to be our third baseman moving forward.
Well, I think he's going to say that regardless because
Yeah,
until
good
they
point.
sign somebody else, he's going
Very
to say
fair.
that.
Yeah.
Joseph says Shaw will replace Nico in a couple of years, in my humble opinion. I would have thought that too until Nico had what I would say was his best season, and Shaw played the defense that he did at third, because my concern was that even if Shaw did exceed the projections that Zips and others had for him in his rookie season, I thought it was going to be the defense that was going to be the problem. The defense looks good enough to play third base, in my opinion, for whatever. I don't care what they have at third base. He could be he could be the Cubs' third baseman for the future. It's whether or not the at-bat. And then you look at the Zips and you say, all right, well, what if he just next year does what he was projected to do this year, because it's zoomed out. What did he hit, 12, 13 home runs? 13. They were projecting 16. What if he hits 18 home runs and plays that defense next year? Is that enough power production at third base for you to say, yeah, that is the future? How high does he have to go with something like that? Does it have to be, for me, it's mostly about power. Like, I don't care if he's a perfect batter. I think he's going to be somewhere in there. But if he hits 20 home runs next year and he plays good third base, am I starting to think, yeah, well, that's close enough to being a Bregman of the future? That is our future. I think the Cubs would say yes.
I think 20, the number you just gave there, 20 is the number. To me, if he hits 17 home runs next year, nice, good year. I don't know that I'm ready to commit to Matt Shaw.
At third base.
At third base. If next year he hits 20 home runs, has a much more consistent plate approach, and is somebody that you can rely on offensively and can still play that kind of defense, now we're talking about something.
And for me personally, if the Chicago Cubs want to say to themselves, we want to have the best defensive infield in baseball, if not the National League, I can wrap my head around that.
Yeah.
For me personally, I think it's more that on-base number. I need that on-base number to be at least 32, 34% to make him viable. And then you could say to yourself, first base, DH, and your corner outfield spots, that's where I'm going to try and find my power.
Joseph in the chat throwing out 18 homers as Bregman level production. Bregman only played 114 games this year, and that was his floor. When he typically plays 140, he's giving you about 25.
Yeah.
Correct.
See, there's the difference. Okay, we only got like 2 minutes left, but I got to get to the candy because this is important for the kids. The kids listening to the podcast deserve correct information. The order of candy is number 1, Twix, period. There's no other one.
Wow.
Kit Kat is second for me, then Milky Way, 4th is M&M's, and then number 5, sometimes I go with the old whatchamacallit bar if they're going the old ones, but because all this stuff is little now, I'll go Three Musketeers. I still like Three Musketeers. I don't like peanut butter in my candy or my desserts. Period.
Ooh,
Whoa.
we're going to disagree.
Yeah,
here.
laying down a
Yes.
hard line there.
Good. I'm glad there's goofballs like you eating peanut butter in your desserts. I don't.
You're a nougat man. That's what's going on here. So
Peanut
I
butter's for the
love
sandwich.
my wife for the specific reason that she loves Reese's and I don't have to eat them.
Bingo.
Oh, there
Me
you
too. I
go.
traded
That's
them
what
with
makes
Reese's
the
marriage
every-
work.
I'll
every
eat the
Easter.
Reese's.
all right,
Yeah.
I got my list coming in, and let's be honest. Look at me. I love nuts. Number 1, Snickers. Number
are a
2, Twix. Number 3, peanut M&Ms. Number 4, Kit Kat. Number 5, old school, but used to end up always in my trick or treat bag. Those Baby Ruths.
Do they call those Otanis now?
Yeah, right.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
very
Okay,
nice.
it's a Baby Ruth.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wish they were
Yeah.
Kyle
Floating
Tuckers.
in the pool.
It's still good. It's still good. So that's
Kyle
my top
Tuckers
5.
are good at the beginning, but as you keep eating them, they start to lose flavor.
And we're running out of time, but really
Oh,
quick,
yeah.
no Snickers. No Snickers in the top 5?
I don't like nuts or peanuts in my desserts. Don't make me say it again, Thanos.
Yikes.
Look, Reese's. Reese's has to be in the top
I-
5 there.
Yeah,
Sorry,
Reese's.
away
Yeah,
his
Reese's
identity.
was left off the list.
Yeah, Reese's would definitely be in my top 5. So you know what else would be in there? Twizzlers. You give me a good Twizzler in a Halloween trick or treating.
It's the most popular
that's
candy in
great.
Chicago. I heard it on the radio today.
Those are so good.
Twizzler.
Yes.
The two that haven't been mentioned, I love caramel. Rolo, $100 grand.
100
Oh,
grand is
100
great.
grand's a
is a
good
good
one.
choice.
Just
That's a
like
good
just
one.
like the Baby Ruth, and then shout out to Nestle Crunch. Sarah also said, "Can't believe you can make a top 5 without Nestle Crunch."
I like a Nestle Crunch or even the cheap one, the Crackle or whatever they call it. Thanks for checking out the CHGO Cubs podcast presented by Toyota. Thanks to Jordan for jumping in. Thanos, a guest appearance. And
thanks, Thanos.
don't forget Corey and Brendan on Cubs related later tonight. Have a great Halloween. We will see you next time. Thanks for watching and fly the W.
No, come on.
We all silly like the mayor.